What's up, y'all? This is China from the Indie as Fuck podcast, and we got Chico Brenes here today, our lovely special guest. I always like to start off the interview with, Chico, what makes you independent as fuck?
Man, my skateboarding, surfing, cycling, my family.
Yes, and you've been doing this, bringing us back, let's bring the people back to Nicaragua, where you are from. That whole story about how you even came to the U.S. is just so powerful.
Yeah, I was born in Nicaragua, 1975, and during the whole Revolution War that was happening over there, my family decided to come to the U.S., escape that whole. My mom came first. Actually, my mom was actually shot in the face, and she came to the U.S.
Right.
to get some help, and we were still living in Nicaragua, and during that time, I was maybe around 9, 8 years old, and the war was still happening, and I was getting older, and they were recruiting kids to go out and like fight with the Sandinistas to help, with everything what was going on, and they were recruiting just people. So my mom got a little scared, and we decided to take the journey to the U.S. We came here. I came here illegally, actually.
Wow.
In 1985, we all through Central America paid a coyote to get us across in Mexico. That's a personal smuggler that you paid to get you across. And yeah, that's my life. I'm here.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes things have to happen for a reason. And, just knowing about your story, I didn't know your family was big on cattle. Like, you guys were like the cattle people, right? In your town.
Yeah.
And which kind of made you guys a little more privileged than most, right?
Yeah. The town that I was born in is El Almendro. It's like about like 5 hours away from the capital of Managua.
Okay.
And it's known for like for their cattle and just. I mean, when I lived there, there was no electricity. I remember there was no like running water and everything like that. And my family, I remember they had like a lot of like land and a lot of cattle. And as a young kid, I always had my own horse. Like I remember being 4 years old and able to ride a horse, and I had my own horse with his own name. I forget the name, but yeah, I had my own horse, and I wake up in the morning and go with my dad out to the finca and gather up the cattle and everything like that, bring them to the corral, and then milk the cows and everything like that, and yeah, sell the milk to the town. And that was, like to have. I look back, like the wealthy people were the people who had like land and cattle. You know what I mean? Because they were selling everything to
constant income.
Like, yeah, exactly. But during the whole war that was happening, my family started getting scared because they didn't know what was going to be what the future was going to be hold. So they just started selling everything. Like my grandfather passed away, and then my grandma, she was just so scared, and she was just selling. She sold everything for like dirt cheap. And
I know that you kind of go back there sometimes.
I go surfing out there. In fact, I'm going in May. I'm doing a surf trip with a couple of skate friends that did it last year. And for me, is seeing them enjoy my country is like my biggest.
You give your friends the opportunity to go back to where you are from. That is really
Exactly.
cool. How's skate culture out there?
The skate culture has been growing. When I left, there was nobody that skated out there. And I went back to Nicaragua after coming to the U.S. in 85. I didn't go back until 91, 92, and I didn't meet anybody. I didn't know anybody. And then I came back next year. I saw somebody, and it started like that. I started coming every year and just started growing organically. And next thing you know, there was some people that were doing like they were doing like some charity work that skated, and they started just building like obstacles at this place. I remember. Till now, in the country, there's like skate parks in places that I wouldn't even imagine. Like this place that is called Chontales. I remember it's on the way to where I'm from in Almendro, and it's like a cattle place also. and they have a skate park. I remember doing a demo for LRG. You can actually find it.
Really?
You can find it on the internet.
I need to pull this up and watch that. That is
there.
so cool.
Because I remember when we pulled up, we were driving for 2 hours, and I remember Billy Marks was like, "Dude, where are we going? Like, we're not getting anywhere. This is because it was just green. Like, you know, there can't be anything out here." And he's like, "Don't worry." And it was my first time too, so I was a little worried. I was a little worried. I was like, I hope, you know, they told me it's going to be here.
Yeah.
And we pulled up, and there was just like a huge crowd, like not the governor of the place was there, saluted us, and was just so thankful that we showed up. And, you know, we did a demo for the kids. And it was like an LRG demo. And that's when I started realizing, damn, skateboarding is growing and it's getting bigger. And also just seeing the reaction of like bringing my friends to my country and watching them just enjoy it brought such a smile and like joy to myself that I was doing like tours every year to Nicaragua, because we will skate the Capitol, film, take photos, whatever we need to do for the magazines and for the companies. And then like 3 days before we leave, we'll go to the beaches and enjoy ourselves and just relax.
Wow.
And so people were signing up on these trips. Like I was leaving and people were like, yo, when is the next trip happening? You know? So I was able to bring like so many pros to the country that would have never otherwise kind of went to the country,
yes,
you know, and do demos for the people and for the skateboarders. And you know, now we have a huge skate park in Managua and all over the place. Actually, you know, there's a lot of people that moved out there, like foreigners who built like their own little space skate park and little DIY spots. You know,
are you like a legend out there? Is there like murals and like portraits of Chico out there?
Nah, I mean, people do recognize me, you know, but man, I have so much love for my country, and you know, and it brings a smile, like I said, to bring people out there and to see them enjoy themselves, because it's not like but a lot of people are like, is it safe? Is it? It's one of the safest countries in Central America, actually. You know,
really?
Like the whole war happened in the 80s, but people still think like it's, you know, because they heard it back then. Like, is it safe? Like, it's so safe. We don't have no gangs. We don't have, you know, anything like that. So it's really safe. And if you surf and if you even skate or just you want to just travel to a beautiful place, it's like I really recommend it. And it's cheap. It's cheap too.
I may need to put that on one of my bucket lists.
It's next to Costa Rica, so it's just as beautiful as Costa Rica too.
Okay.
We share a lot of the similar foods and, you know, everything else. So yeah. Put it on your list.
Yes,
please.
sign me up when you're doing one of those trips again. Hey, maybe I could like come and interview or something.
Yeah,
like
we'll
that
do a
for
podcast
LRG.
when we're out there.
Yes, exactly.
We'll do it with one of the famous boxers from Nicaragua, or a baseball player.
That right now for us. So it's so crazy how your life would have been so much more different living out there, but you found your way to SF, California, where you learned your love for skating. But I didn't realize you actually were on a bike first. Like you started doing BMXing before you hopped on a skateboard, right?
When I came, I remember I had a BMX and I was riding BMX for a little bit. But a lot of people in the neighborhood that I live were skating. There was ramps, you know, so and it was getting super popular. I remember like Pal Peralta was like the big thing. You know, the Tony Hawk, Steve Caballero, all that stuff was like, and that's when I kind of was introduced to skateboarding, and when I pretty much fell in love with skateboarding. And I ended up buying like a generic board from Toys R Us, like that my grandma bought. And soon enough,
it's $10, and you and your brother had to share it.
Yeah, and soon enough, I didn't. I was like, oh, this is not what they're writing.
Right.
This has plastic things all over, and like there doesn't. So soon enough, I found out that my board was like a generic board, but I didn't care. I still loved that thing, and I still rode it. And next thing you know, like I'm getting hand-me-downs from other people or buying stuff from other people, and that's how I was able to put like something pretty legit to ride.
And it seems like just even being a product from your environment, you were around so many other skaters during that time. Every interview that I hear between you and Carl, you guys are specifically talking about this place, EMB, right?
The Embarcadero.
Okay, yeah. I was like, what is that? Plaza. Okay, please explain to me what that is and just like what,
It's a plaza that pretty much in the 90s, early 90s, was the place that you needed to be. It's like, and I happened just to be pretty much from Nicaragua, I went to SF and Embarcadero.
Now, were people like actually traveling to go to that area? Oh, okay, so
From
you just happened to be
I just happened to be a
right
part
there.
already. And I have like some footage of me when I was still learning how to skate, going there like 88, 89. But it wasn't still like very territorial how it became in the 90s, you know, like it became like localized, I guess.
So it was territorial, like you had to be like accepted in to be a part of it, or
people were just scared to come and skate in Embarcadero. Like they were just intimidated because it was the new. I went from riding launch ramps like in the 80s, and this was the new wave of like flip ins, flip out, what you see today. Our generation was like, I feel like was the one who forefronted that whole thing of like, you know,
street skating for the most part, right?
Yeah, street skating was always there, but like tech skateboarding, I guess I would say, you know, to flip in, flip out, like boards started like changing a little bit. It wasn't just so much flat, you know, it had some concave. And that's where I feel like a lot of the street skateboarding. I mean, LA had their thing and New York had their thing, but I feel like the Mecca was Embarcadero to like where people needed to be seen because, you know, Thrasher was there in San Francisco, like a lot of like other companies were also there. So sometimes I will pull up on Embarcadero in the summer and I will just see people just all sitting down on the 3 stair, just sitting, and where do these people come from? It was like a demo.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was like a demo. And we would get like kind of like mad because, you know, they just want to sit down and see your favorite pros because your favorite pro will probably like be at that spot. Like, you know, Mike Carroll, Henry Sanchez, Javante, all these guys who were pretty much leading the pack at that time.
What is it to this day? Is it still going on? Is it still like known to be one of those places?
It got changed around.
Okay.
You know, like a lot of the stuff that was there in the early 90s is like they redid it when they redid that whole little area.
So was it actually like a skate park, or were you guys just skating on
we were
just straight
skating,
ramps? Okay.
And it had everything that you wanted.
Was it Pro City? Was the city like with you guys skating in that area?
In the beginning, the city was okay. But after like 3-4 years of us just like hanging out, like tearing up the ledges and everything like that, because it's around businesses too, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like a place, like a little plaza where people would go and have lunch, I guess.
Yeah.
But it had everything that we wanted. It had like the best ledges, stairs, gap. It's like what today skateboard plazas, what skate parks are trying to be, you know, like have like, make it look like a regular area in the city, not make it look like a skate park. That's why I feel like they're copying, you know what I mean? A lot of like these old school plazas that there were in the U.S. Like, you know, D.C. also had like a Love Park, was like famous back in the days. But yeah, it was.
Hey, the time and the place to be, and I mean that was kind of like the catalyst to your whole career of you being a pro skater. I could have moved
anyone in the U.S. and my life would have ended up totally different. I happened to move to SF, be part of this legendary like EMB, you know, scene that was happening at the time, and that was, you know,
literally your passion found
spearheading, skateboarding in like a different direction, you know, and. Looking back, it's incredible. I mean, it's incredible
that you found yourself in these spaces.
Yeah.
Tell me about the moment that you realized you were pro or going pro. That when you go pro, that means like you actually get your name on like a skateboard or you get your first skateboard.
But it was actually a lot harder back then.
What was the process back in the day?
Back then,
to get pro?
I mean, you really needed to. I remember with the company that I was with, World Industries, when I remember touring for like months and months and months. And I like looking back, I see why they were doing this. It was like because people needed to know you. You know, there was like no social media. There was nothing like that back then. You know, like magazines was the closest thing, and you know they were only coming out once a month or whenever. So I remember touring like all over the U.S. for like 3 months. It was like me, Shiloh, and Day One.
And how old were you when you were doing this?
Probably 15, 16.
So who was like, were you getting any type of sponsorship money to do this?
By that time I was an amateur, so they were paying me.
Gotcha.
You know,
What was the pay like back in the day?
They were paying for everything already. So
Wow. At 15 years old.
At 15 years old, they were already. For me, it was like I just couldn't. For me, I was just skateboarding, and I was just skating different cities and different spots and meeting different skating. I was able to do it with my friends, so I was like, I'm on board. You know what I mean? I love this, meeting different people. And next, Rodney Mullen, who's like a big famous, skateboarder. He was a team manager for World Industry, and he's like, "We want to turn you pro, Chico." And I was like, "No, I didn't want to go pro because I felt like I wasn't ready."
Why did you feel like you weren't ready?
Because the pros back then that I looked up to was like, Tommy Guerrero or, Mike Carroll, Javante, like all these people that I felt like I wasn't on their level, So I was like, I kept shutting it down. Like, no, I don't want to go pro.
You were turning down the money and all of that?
I just felt like it was going to come when it was going to come. I just felt like I didn't want to turn pro when Rodney was like, we want to turn you pro. And we did a tour, and I remember coming back to SF and going to FTC, and my board is on the wall.
Oh, so they just did it.
They just did it. I remember Kent, the owner of FTC, he's like, "Hey, Chico, we got your board." So it was me, Day One, and Shiloh who they turned pro. So I guess it was the next generation of like, for their riders that they were going to push, the company. And like a lot of like the older heads that were like a little, pushing them out a little. Because I remember talking to also Jeff Hartzell. He's Hawaiian who was a big, people that I idolized, you know what I mean? Like as a kid. He was like, "Chico, I remember when you guys were coming, I was like, I just kind of like stepped aside and I just went and worked at the warehouse because you guys were bringing something so new and so fresh and like this new street style of skateboarding, But I was like, "No, Jeff, we idolized you, man. You were like a god to us." You know what I mean? It wasn't like, but he was like, that's the way, that he felt. That's the way.
Wow.
But it was cool. I love those guys like Jeff Hartzell and all those old school guys. I still I look up to those guys because those are the people that when I was coming up, those were my idols. And to this day, when I was like, damn, I can't believe I'm like talking to him, like he's a friend. I remember going to Hawaii and meeting up with him and skating with him. And just for me, hearing stories from how they made it makes me happy. Like, how did you make it? Like, you were the first pros that you met, and stuff like that. I love picking their brains and see how, how it was and how how was their journey and how they made it to where they are. For me, that brings me joy too.
And now the fact that you do that to like people that are coming up right now, people look at you exactly the same way and look at your journey. How does that feel to
I love sharing my story. I love sharing my story. I love when people want to learn how was Embarcadero, like you right now. I love sharing that type of story, or how did you make it? How was Nicaragua when you lived over there? And how did you, I love sharing my story, and I love hearing other people's stories too, man. I don't know.
What is some advice for, this new skate generation that is coming up and trying to become pro and kind of take those legendary steps that you took?
I think just, let it happen naturally. Don't force it. Let it happen. Like, that's how it was for me back in the days. I just let my skateboarding do the talking. You know what I mean? I wasn't like pursuing things like, hey, check out my video. Look at me. Just let it happen. If it's going to happen, it's going to, they're going to find you, because I feel like everybody's good nowadays. There's so much talent, with the skate parks and with the social media, everybody. I mean, the level of skateboarding now is like, it's like a video game.
So do you advise for people to just get content of them skating and just constantly posting, tagging these skate companies?
I wouldn't say tagging. I just do your content and what you need to do, because I know that's a new way of like doing things nowadays. But I just feel like don't be so persistent. Like, hey, look at me. Like, just they're going to find you. If you got what it takes, they're going to find you, So I don't know. For me, that's my advice.
Okay. So I know you came all the way from San Francisco to visit us here in Irvine at the LRG headquarters, but you told me about a cool event that you got to go back to SF to do.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Tell me about that. What's going on?
I'm doing an event with Or Not Bike. It's like a shop in the city. They do group rides, and I was doing a group ride with them on Tuesday that I show up in the morning. and then ride through the city, like around Golden Gate, see the bridge, everything beautiful, beautiful. And at the end, we have like coffee and donuts, you know, yeah. So I was like, I want to do that, but go to like skate spots, like Embarcadero where I grew, where I started. Pier 7 is another famous spots, Fort Miley. And I want to get the skate community to come and join us and like just ride and just like bring these two cultures together, because a lot of people that do cycling skate and a lot of skaters. For me, I feel like skateboarding, cycling like also saved my skateboarding, because when I got hurt, I got into cycling and I was like, yeah. So also bring that awareness, that if you're going through injuries, which a lot, if you skate, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That a good way to get back is through cycling, because it's the low impact, you know what I mean? And you're also getting out there. You're not at home on a stationary bike, just sitting, whatever, you're getting some fresh air. You're like seeing things. And for me, the way I also found with cycling is like, it's a good way to find skate spots. You go into cutty little things that you never really would go into with a car. So things that you probably didn't see in a car, you're cycling like, damn, I didn't even know this ledge or this handrail or the stairs were right here. I'm going to come back and hit this.
Right. That is so cool.
I don't know. And I also did a collabo with Factor. I did a Chico Sticks collaboration with a big Factor bikes. They're huge. And that bike came out already. And hopefully we can get to do another one next year.
Okay.
But
I'm excited for that to drop.
For me it's just, I don't know, combine the two things and let people know how much it helped me, and it helps me with my skateboarding. So
currently right now, how often are you skating?
I try to skate every day. I try to do a nollie heel, which is my favorite trick. People will know what I'm talking about. Nollie heel flip is my favorite trick. So I try to do a nollie heel flip every single day. I also got into surfing about 7 years ago, which I didn't know how much I was going to love.
Do you feel like with you already having like your skate skills, it was able to like be an easy transition into the surfing world? Or is it different?
It was different in the beginning, but now I can see totally like put those things together with some of the movements, Okay. But in the beginning, just learning how to read, the ramp is not moving, this water's moving around. So you got to be like in the right spot. Otherwise, you're just going to get plummeted,
Right.
Like when you're dropping in from a quarter pipe, it's not going to move, but you know that it's going to be there. So, okay, I know what I got to do to drop in. On the waters, it's totally different, man. And I never realized how hard surfing was. It's like you really got to start as a young, like I started skateboarding to really become and be able to do all these
balance and all of that. Just like
just learning how to read and everything, and being comfortable, being held on the water. You know what I mean? It's intense. But I love it so much. It's like I love it. And the other thing that I realize is like I see 70-year-olds out there surfing. You know what I mean? And it brings that same adrenaline and stokedness that I get from skateboarding, being out there in the water. And probably because of me, because it's kind of new. So every little movement that I do, it's like, whoosh, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa, like I just did that. I can't believe it. With skateboarding, I kickflip, I've been doing it my whole life. Nollie heels, tray flip, all that stuff I've been doing it my whole life. So I don't get that same unless I'm doing it something super big, which I don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that I was like, man, I don't know if I'll be able to do a nollie heel flip in my 70s, right? But I can probably get that same adrenaline high on a surfboard. So I was like, man, this is very special,
I love how you're just like finding all these like new, from the cycling to the surfing.
Me,
it's like you're constantly evolving.
It's the only way to stay like young, I feel. Like you have to keep moving, so because once you just sit down on the couch and turn that remote, it's over.
Exactly. You got to keep staying active. So for me,
staying active, staying moving, and like, I wake up like at 4 a.m, check the report, go to the gym if I need to go to the gym, or hit the water, go skateboarding or go cycling, or family, obviously, have to get to school and do all that.
Are your kids into sports?
Snowboarding. My daughter snowboards.
Oh, she snowboards.
Yeah.
Now, snowboarding, would you say that's equivalent to skateboarding, or is it?
You're strapped in, but I mean, some of the stuff, once I feel like it's definitely easier than surfing.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely easier than surfing. Surfing is pretty hard, but it's so fun.
I need
So fun. You
to
gotta
tap
do
into
it. You gotta
it.
try it. Especially out
Okay.
here, the water is a little bit warmer than where I'm at.
In SF?
SF is cold.
Yeah. I didn't even know you guys
And-
had waves like that.
and
Yes.
sharky.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Hey, well, you
But
are
that's
so
why
inspiring.
Nicaragua was so great, because you don't even need a wetsuit, board shorts, and you just get out. So that's why over there it's so great to surf, because you can surf in the morning, take a break, eat lunch, and then go back anytime. You know what I mean? The perfect waves, perfect weather.
When's the best time to go in a year in Nicaragua?
For surfing or for
Just in general, because you got me thinking like, I mean, I need to go out there, but like, what's like a
I
good
think
time
it gets
to go?
hot, like super hot, like in May. So maybe October will be like when it starts like cooling down a little. It's always gonna be hot and humid though.
I'm gonna go and
So I don't know if you've been to Miami.
Yes.
It's hot and it's gonna be hot and humid in the summer like that.
Okay.
But you just go straight to the beaches.
Well, I'm gonna get it straight off the airplane. I'm gonna be like, I know Chico, so take me to the.
we got
I
you.
know him.
We got you. We'll put you to the VIP.
Okay. Yep.
I got the connections over there, so they're not even
perfect.
They'll put you in this room. They'll come get your bags, and you're all straight. They'll wave you right through. You're good.
Yep. Definitely using that. Chico, it was a pleasure for you coming on the Indie as Fuck podcast. You've been with LRG for 25 years. Actually, I want to touch on that really quick.
Yes.
25 years with LRG.
25 years. I was one of the second or third ones to get on. Carl Watson, who you're going to interview, he was the first one. He got on in 1999. I remember seeing an ad of him with his jean fit, and I was like, man, that is so fresh. I want that. And next thing you know, he made the connection, and I was on the team. So I got on I think 2000. And just to see the brand grow to some bigger than life, seeing all these rappers and everybody. I remember being here and having a photo shoot with Fife, and I was like, man, I'm so happy to just be a part of this whole thing that they made, I seen LRG go from something small to just, and Jonas, man, thank you, Jonas, because he's basically the one who put me on. He was also love my skateboarding and my style and everything. And thank you, Jonas, man, because you really changed my life, man, and
wow.
He was just an amazing human being, so.
That's, hey, and then 25 years later, here we are, still a part of LRG's legacy. I mean, you have pictures with your kids and some of the campaigns, and that was really cool to see. Just just the growth. Even the trip that you guys went to with China with Kelly Hart, Carl.
That was
all
another
those
great
memories.
Thing. That was another just being able to travel for Give Me My Money, Chico, the video that they made. Being able to go wherever we wanted to go. Actually, we just picked a spot. We knew that there was going to be stuff to skate, and we would just go and just to be with your friends.
Living a life.
What an experience.
Yeah, what an experience.
Skating all these different, and for me, China was actually one of the best places that I was traveling, because just all the architecture that they had, smooth ground, and you didn't really get kicked out or anywhere. And
that's what Kelly said.
If you got kicked out, you still had 2 hours because we didn't understand what they were saying. And, the communication, they finally have to grab somebody, and they finally were able to, all right, I get it. You can't skate here, but it had some amazing spots, and just the people and everything in general. The food was a little bit kind of hard, but luckily we had a friend that was always traveling there who just knew where all the good spots were at.
That's awesome.
But for me, those were some of the probably through my whole skateboarding. I think some of the best moments with traveling with LRG. With LRG and actually with Chocolate too. The beginning of Chocolate was also great. I feel like it all been great. Even with World Industries before that, in the beginning, I think
just a great experience.
It's been an experience, yeah.
I'm like, man, is it too late for me to get into skateboarding and get sponsored and do all this traveling and living my best life? Okay. I may need to hop on a board. Yeah, sometime soon. But Chico.
Hold on. Talk about the board that you did with LRG right there, man.
Oh, this one? This is one of the collabs that we did with my brand, Chico Sticks, that I'm doing. And this one's a sidewalk surfer, obviously, because my love into surfing and everything like that. And the graphics that they did is amazing. I mean, a little bit of like the cable car and like the muni bus with the oceans and the mountains and everything. And me doing a wall ride over here. But yeah, this one unfortunately sold out. But we had many, many great collabs throughout the years with them. We did a collab with Chocolate. That was also pretty amazing. And
wow, do you still have all your boards? Like at least like one copy of each one?
I have a bunch, but I didn't keep any of the beginning ones from World Industries. From like I turned pro in 1991. I have none of those.
There's somebody out here in this world that probably has.
Man, if they do, it's gonna be like 10 grand. They're gonna want hella money, man. I swear. I have like a reissue that they did. That's the closest thing I have to like my first board. But everything from later on, from 94 with Chocolate, I have like all of my. But I wish I was able to. It would have been too hard though, because we were doing like a new board like every month. It wasn't like back in the days in the 80s where you can have a graphic for like years.
Yeah.
And it was like iconic, like later on when graphics started coming out in the 90s, it was just like after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. And
just so many of them.
So many, but I kept as many as I could. And
that's so awesome. Well, thank you for just sharing your story and being on the Indie as Fuck podcast and coming down to kick it with the LRG team.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, Chica.
Also, I could have brought some because my mom just came back from Nicaragua.
Oh, snaps.
Queso frito is like this fried cheese. That's my kryptonite. My mom's like, I'm making fried cheese. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm driving to my mom's house. I swear. That's my kryptonite. Okay. It's like, don't even put it in front of me because I'll tear that up. I swear. It's fried cheese. It's like, it's special fried cheese though, because you can't just fry regular cheese. It'll melt. It's like this, you got to look it up, but you got to put it up. Okay. It's called queso frito.
Queso frito.
So queso frito with gallo pinto together and some plantains, game over.
Oh. Okay, I feel like you guys make a really good ceviche. Do you guys make a good ceviche?
Yeah, we make good ceviche, but ceviche is like more Peruvian.
Okay, gotcha.
Because that's where it's from. So. So for us, the gallo pinto and the queso frito, and we have a lot of great food, actually. We have some good.
Okay. Well, when I go on my trip, you know,
I could have brought you some. It's funny because my mom was like, bring this, because my daughter Maya, she's like, she asked me for queso frito. She had all this queso frito, man. Could have brought you some queso frito. Now I feel bad, man.
Dang, next time.